a nice little break. Maybe you got some lunch, did your brain break, moved your body. Don't forget to do PE today. I will post a music video for tomorrow. Okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read Let's Learn About Brown Bears. Okay? First off, think about what you already know about brown bears. Okay, so Bear Snores On is the story that we're reading this week and learning about and using that to do vocabulary and various other literacy things. Think about what you already know. You know that brown bears live in a lair, right? Or a den, or a cave. What do they do during the winter? Does anybody know? Think about it. How do they have babies? What do they like to eat? Where do they like to sleep? How long do they sleep? What part of the world do they live in? Do they like cold weather, hot weather? Are they tropical? Are they mountainous? Are they desert animals? Think about all that stuff, okay? And then see if your thoughts are correct. So the first chapter in our brown bear book here is, what are they? Let's see if there's some information here that you didn't already know. So what are they? Brown bears are the largest meat-eating animal that live on land. So does that make them a carnivore, an omnivore, or an herbivore? What do you think? If you look at this picture, here's a standard-sized man. He's about 6 feet tall. I'm about 6 feet tall. A bear is even taller when he's standing up, 7 feet. So you can kind of see how large a bear is. Brown bears are mammals. Mammals are animals that are warm-blooded and have fur. Did you know bears take care of their cubs until they are 2.5 years old? That's a pretty long time for an animal. Humans are unusual in the sense that they take care of their children until they're 18 or 19 years old. But most animals, most mammals, only care for their young for 6 months to a year, I would say. In the winter, females give birth to cubs. They take care of their cubs and feed them milk. So they have their babies in the winter time. That's interesting. Okay, the next chapter is, what do they look like? Brown bears are covered with brown fur. They have a big head, a large muzzle, and a shoulder hump. So here's the muzzle, here's the ears, and here's the shoulder hump. You can see it kind of goes way up. The hump is full of muscles that give their front legs extra strength. So here's their legs, and that's just lots of muscle that give them strength. Did you know brown bears can weigh up to 700 pounds? That's as much as 14 first graders. That's basically our entire class. All put together would be the same weight as one brown bear. Page 4. Brown bears have 4 large paws. Their front paws have long, sharp claws. They use their claws for digging. Look at those things. Each claw can be up to 4 inches long. So 4 inches is about this long. That's pretty big for a claw. I mean, that's like the length of my whole finger, and that's just the claw, not the paw and the fingers. Wouldn't want to mess with a brown bear. So in the winter, it's hard for bears to find food, so they eat up to about 90 pounds of food each day during the fall months to store up fat for the winter, and then they hibernate in their dens all winter. So there's an example of a bear's den. You can see how they've kind of dug a hole into the ground. So they hibernate in the wintertime, which means that they kind of go into like a sleep-like trance, and they don't do anything. And it's so that their bodies can survive through the winter without very much food. When they're not hibernating, brown bears are called omnivores. They eat berries, nuts, fruit, leaves, and roots. They also eat fish and other small animals. So they're omnivores, which means they eat plants as well as meat, as well as animals. And at the end of our little storybook here, got a glossary. A glossary is a page of terms. So there's some big words that were in this book, and the glossary helps us to understand what those big words mean. So the word mammals is a warm-blooded animal that has hair and feeds their babies milk. So can you think of other mammals, other animals that you know about that have warm blood, have hair, and they feed their babies milk? Dogs, cats, wolves, raccoons. Now, an example of something that is not a mammal would be birds. So birds lay eggs and they don't feed milk to their babies. So a bird is not a mammal. Okay? A cub. So another term that we saw in this book was cub. A cub is a bear that is younger than 3 years old. Okay? So remember we learned that the mom takes care of her babies for up to 2.5 years. So about the same time, give or take 6 months, that a baby bear goes out on their own, it changes from being a cub to a full bear. Hibernate is a deep sleep that protects animals from cold weather and lack of food. There are other animals that hibernate besides bears. Can you think of any other animals that hibernate? And then omnivore. We already talked about that, but it's an animal that eats meat and plants. Okay? If you would like to spend some time researching brown bears and finding some other information, maybe find out where they live. I think you'd be surprised that they don't really live too far from here. You don't really see brown bears around here, but they don't live too far, and we might have other types of bears that live close to here. Brown bears are just one type of bear. There are a lot of other types of bears. Do some research on your own, and maybe send a video or a picture of what you find out.